everybody, this is the Vikren. So one thing I've learned from watching a bunch of Kurosawa movies and various other period pieces from feudal Japan, being a poor peasant during, the 16th, 17th, 18th century, it must have sucked ass. But one thing that must have been even worse, being Christian on top of that thing, that must have sucked double ass. Well, one person who wanted to put a little bit of a spotlight on this period in time was Martin Scorsese. This was apparently a big passion project for him, and he invested lots of his own money and was able to make this movie a reality. And he, in this case, traded his usual profanity-filled, gruesome gangster or crime movies for some more gruesome stuff, but more of a existential religious type of a period piece. How did that work? Well, that's what we're gonna find out today. Today we're taking a look at Martin Scorsese's Silence. It's 1633 and Japan has basically, isolated itself and doesn't want any more foreign influences, there. But they do some trading with the Portuguese, who is, one of few who has exclusive contracts to, trade with Japan, just a little bit at least. But being a Christian, that's a big no-no over there. And they have, started this anti-Christian purge over there. But one of the most well-known and well-regarded priest over there is Father Ferrara, played by Liam Neeson. But the correspondence with him has just, stopped. Has he been killed? That's what they first think. But then there's a rumor growing around the Catholic Church in Portugal that he has denounced God and he's now living as a Japanese, as a non-Christian. This is outrageous, they say. So, two scholars that very, very much respects and admires Ferrara, Rodriguez and Guarde, played by Adam Driver and Andrew Garfield, they set off on this very, very dangerous mission to try to find their mentor and to debunk these rumors because they believe that he has not abandoned God. He is, spreading the word of God no matter what. He would rather die and become a martyr rather than, denouncing God. So they set over there and they go in there incognito in hopes of finding him. But will they be able to turn a blind eye towards the gruesome atrocities that is made towards the Christians in Japan? Will they try to perform the word of God, thereby risking themselves being subjugated to this horrible things that is happening on these remote islands and, small rural places where there are, small pockets of Christianity, because Christianity at this point is a very, very small candle that is being smothered by the authorities. Will they find Liam Neeson? Will they be able to see if Ferrara has actually denounced God, or is he actually dead and they're just chasing a ghost here on the other side of the world? Now, when this movie had been going on for about 1 hour, I was getting quite restless and I thought to myself, I don't usually have a problem with, these very, very long Scorsese movies. I relish in, how long they are and how big they are and how epic they are. But I felt the length of this one and I felt we have 1.5 hours more of this. I wasn't getting into the story. I wasn't getting that much into the character. I wasn't even getting that much into, the whole thing of finding Liam Neeson. And as a period piece, it was just pretty good, but it wasn't, gripping me or anything like that. But thankfully, all filmmakers might have created equally from the beginning. Luckily for me, all filmmakers may have been created equally, but they are not the same, because I don't think that anybody else except for Martin Scorsese would have been able to pull this thing off, because once a certain thing happens, the movie is off to the races, and the last half hour of this movie was nothing short of absolutely magnificent and an absolute gem to watch. And I loved it so much, and a magnificent finale to the whole thing. It's just that the first hour of this movie was a very wonky experience where I didn't care and I wasn't really into anything. But, you know, that changed. This movie is very much carried by Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver, who are fantastic in the roles. Liam Neeson doesn't have that much screen time in this movie, but when he shows up, he's fantastic. The guy's a goddamn chameleon. You mean to tell me that this guy is the same guy as this guy? It's amazing what you can do with acting. And best of them all, however, is Andrew Garfield. It's weird that Hollywood has maybe the greatest actor of his generation, but he only occasionally pops up, you know, in a movie here and there. Why is he so busy all the time that he cannot take, you know, time from his busy schedule to make more movies from us? Oh, okay, well, now you're at least partially excused. Carry on. Anyway, so this is unlike a movie like Casino or The Wolf of Wall Street or Goodfellas or The Irishman or something like that. This movie is, as I said, a period piece, and it is more of an existential look, and it doesn't have the classical, you know, drive that many Scorsese movies has. It has more of a mellow pace. The pace is actually so mellow that I was bored for, you know, a quite substantial bit of it. But, you know, once you got things rolling, I was more acceptant of it. I love the atmosphere of this movie. I love the tone of this movie. This movie really felt like you were in Japan in 1633, despite the fact that this was being shot in Taiwan, which is a decent stand-in for Japan, even though I would have preferred that they would have shot in Japan. But considering how much money they already spent on this movie, shooting it in Japan would have probably been, you know, the straw that broke the camel's back, considering this one. And Scorsese proves once again that he is perhaps the greatest filmmaker of the century, because I don't think he has made a single bad movie since 2002. Every single movie that he has done since have at least reached 70 points, if my memory doesn't serve me incorrectly. The man is a goddamn genius, and this is just another one of his really excellent movies. It cannot reach the loftiest of lofty heights like your Wolf of Wall Street or Casino, Raging Bull, or any of his other top films. So, should you watch this movie? I don't know. It is not a movie that will appeal to, you know, the broader audience. Maybe that's why this was a bit of a dud at the box office. It's more of an existential movie, and it takes its sweet time to actually get going. If you're looking for more of the crime gangster movies, you're not gonna find what you're looking for here. And if you're one of these religious lunatics who loves, you know, the pure flicks movies, I don't think you're gonna find exactly, you know, what you want from this movie either. You're going to find some stuff that you're gonna want to see, but there is also not as much, and not in the way that you want it to be, I think. But you really feel that Scorsese wanted to make this movie. You really feel that this was a passion project for him, and I must, you know, applaud him for, you know, creating this fantastic experience, because it is an experience. The longer you go, the better the movie gets. And if he just could have, you know, trimmed a little bit of things in the beginning of the movie, or, you know, shifting a little bit and focusing on different things, I think this movie could have been one of the best movies he had ever done. But now it is still a very good movie. One thing that I thought was a little bit distracting was the fact that the Japanese people have a tendency of talking horrendously bad English when they're talking to Driver or Garfield. They have an interpreter, but it sounds like an, you know, prison commander or something like that from some old 1960s you know, war movie or something like that. It was very distracting, and also their bad English should really be bad Portuguese. But on the other hand, I don't think you could have, you know, made Driver and Garfield speak Portuguese, but if you would have insisted on getting Portuguese actors, you wouldn't have gotten so good performance as you would have with Garfield and Driver and Neeson. So it's a little bit of damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you have never seen this movie, I really recommend it, but it will take some patience before watching this movie, because otherwise you might get seriously bored and you might get a bit disinterested in the entire story, despite it being a very fascinating story from a very fascinating point in Japanese history. But if you've never seen it, I really recommend it, but be patient with this one. One thing I really like about this movie is that it doesn't play out exactly like you think it's going to play out, and it doesn't follow the classical rules which a story like this usually takes, because there are things that happens in this movie that just makes you go, oh, they did that. I wonder what they're going to do next. The unpredictability of the whole thing is a thing that drives the whole thing, and they're searching for Ferrara is fantastic. Our three main characters are, of course, the reason why this movie works so extremely well, but they are also helped by Scorsese's fantastic direction. Silence is a very good movie with a very wonky start, but an excellent ending, and I give this movie 81 points. When it comes to Scorsese's movies, this is one of his better ones from the last 10 years. And if you have never seen this, I really recommend you to see it. You could make an argument that this movie is far too long for its own good, but on the other hand, you also feel the journey as the movie goes on. And as I said, it keeps getting better and better the longer this movie goes. So have you seen Silence? Did you like it? Do you think that it is an underrated movie in Scorsese's filmography? Comment below and I'll see you next time from, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.